Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Mark Marex, Product Development Specialist with Nasdaq Index Research, with a recap of December performance across Nasdaq's key indexes and to highlight some key thematics we'll be looking at for 2021. Mark, Happy New Year, and let's get right into it and recap the December performances. The top indexes for the month finally got the spotlight they haven't seen all year.
Yeah, Jill, thank you. Happy New Year, and that's spot on. I mean, in a lot of ways, December performance was a continuation of what we've seen all year in terms of a lot of broad-based strength across multiple geographies and sort of styles. But it really was a story of some of the beaten down areas on a relative basis playing catch up. You can see in this sort of Nasdaq featured and Nasdaq global bucket of indices, U.S. small cap, right? That's the number one performer, up 9% for December, finishing the year very strong after lagging large cap. And you can see large cap was the worst performer on a relative basis, still up almost 4% though. Strong finish to a strong year. And then in terms of the featured, we have the KBW Bank Index, which kind of goes along with that theme of value recovering. We saw a pretty strong recovery in energy, financials, kind of similar broad-based value-themed names ever since the kind of vaccine release and election news in early November. So, really kind of filling out what's been overall a great year for the market beyond just tech.
Let's talk about the tech thematics in slide 2. Is there some areas that are noticeably outperforming within the space?
Yeah, so I mean, look, you look at this list of several dozen indexes in either tech or thematic tech. Everything was up in December. Most of these were up for the year as well. What I've highlighted for folks is 3 of the top 9 performing indexes in this group of about 75 that we track on a monthly basis. 3 of those top performing 9 were in the cybersecurity space. There was that big news story right before the Christmas break about the U.S. government being hacked, Microsoft being hacked. It didn't bode well for one of those firms that kind of screwed up the security protocols. But names like FireEye were up a ton after that, because obviously this is just putting pressure on everyone to ramp up their cybersecurity budgets and their technology spend on that. And then the other big area was, you can see 2 of the top 9 were also in the kind of green energy, ESG related space. Clean Edge, we've talked about the green energy index was just crushing it all year long, finished up over 100%. And then the Clean Edge Global Wind Energy Index also had an incredible year, both of those up 11 or 12% in December.
And Mark, finally, the green economy, which has a number of tailwinds behind it.
Yeah, sure. So, kind of a broader dispersion here when we zoom in on just the green economy indexes, talking about solar and wind. The cost margins in those technologies have come down tremendously over the past year. That's been very bullish for a lot of the companies working on, pumping out the machinery to deliver those renewable forms of energy. Water kind of underperforming relative to those others, although, not as much in the energy space, more in the natural resources space. And then speaking of natural resources, I mean, natural gas, I think it was something like 8 out of 12 months of the year. It was our worst performing index out of the 75 we tracked, down double digits again for December. There was only one other index, a Nordics index, that was negative for the month, maybe down like 1 or 2%. So really an outlier there. Of course, oil had a very, very interesting topsy-turvy year, kind of started to recover towards the end. And then silver was actually our best performer, maybe coming along with some of those reflation trades. Gold had a pretty good year, obviously. Crypto, Bitcoin, finishing the year very strong. So, value and small cap recovery, international recovery, continued strength in ESG, and then maybe some of that reflation trade also starting to show up in some commodities.
Mark, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.